I grew up in a small country town in Australia, and the name of that town is Wagga Wagga. It's in the middle of a big wheat, sheep area. To be perfectly honest, I knew nothing about Islam. We had no Islamic presence in the town. It was a rural community, and this is reflective of the majority of Australia. They really have no understanding or concept what Islam is. It's not so much ignorance or not wanting to face this, but there just is only a very small Islamic community in Australia. I think probably the first time I had contact with Islamic culture would be through the reading of Ali Baba. You know, Tales of Sinbad, Magic Carpets, Abracadabra, all of that sort of stuff. Oh, sorry, it's Open Sesame. So many people think that growing up in Australia that we all have access to kangaroos, but actually we had some in the paddock across the road from us. I was very lucky to grow up on the edge of town, and so opposite us was a veterinarian, and it was all open pastures. So there was horses, there was kangaroos, there was at times emus. Australian animals are incredible. They're unique, and they're one of the parts that makes Australia. Hello. And then, of course, when I moved from the country into the city, even then, at that time, it was the late 80s, and there was no real visible Islamic presence in Australia. I was not even aware of any Islamophobia at that point because there simply was no reporting on Islamic matters, Islamic culture, the Islamic community in Australia. But also, I fell in love with sports, and it was a really big part of the community in the Riverina for people to play sports. We have produced some of Australia's best batsmen, some of Australia's best rugby players, and it was sports that helped me to grow and go through difficult periods in my childhood. I did swimming and diving and gymnastics and ballet, which was quite out of place for somebody in a small country town. But it was the sheer discipline, especially of gymnastics and ballet, and the teacher that I had, that enabled me to survive what would become one of the most difficult periods of my lifetime, and that was when I was held in captivity by the Taliban. Another thing that I got from growing up in a small country town is a love of the countryside, and this is something that was really rekindled in me when I was in Afghanistan. And it's quite ironic, actually. I was kept inside a tiny cell, and all the time I was struggling to see glimpses of the outside, and what I saw on the outside became part of my journey towards Islam. And it was those small glimpses that I got along the way, not only in terms of the countryside, but glimpses in terms of Islamic life, glimpses in terms of the Mujahideen and their daily life, and glimpses or sounds of recitation that came through the door. These all led me to Islam, alhamdulillah. As a Muslim, we are encouraged not to look back with regret on our lives before Islam, and also not to speak about them in a manner that will affect our belief. When I look back at my life before Islam, it is so different to what it is now. I was full of rage. I grew up and there were issues that challenged me, and I had difficulty with these issues. I resorted to coping mechanisms, I lashed out, I drank too much, I did what was expected, particularly in the Western society. You know, alcohol is a form of coping, and so when I look back now at my life then, I can see why I was so unhappy. There are many reasons that have changed, and the clarity that Islam has brought me, and actually the clarity that the captivity has brought me as well. I will never go back to the person that I was before, but the person still exists inside me, and I have to recognize that. And you know, there is no use rejecting what I did before, because everything happens according to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I know that the only reason that I am standing here today between these two incredible mosques, one behind me here and the other one that you can't see on the other side of camera, in Turkey with all of my fabulous Turkish friends, and with these people here from IDDEF who do such incredible work in Afghanistan. and around the world to help Muslims who are struggling, who do not have education, who do not have shelter, who do not have buildings, who do not have lives. I am only here because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so at this time I would like to thank Him for the gifts that He has given me, and for the wonderful friendship and support that IDDEF has shown me, and for the people of Afghanistan. Without them, their love and the brotherhood of the Mujahideen, I would not be the person I am today. Da Khuday Paman. Allah Hafiz.